All right, so we learned how to color the photo. Okay, so now we want to start talking about selections and layer masks. Okay, so pretty much one of the big things in Photoshop is using layer mask and making selections around objects, and pretty much you're singling out certain parts of a picture rather than painting an entire picture. You're focusing on selected areas. Okay, so that's what a selection does. All right, and then it also helps with your workflow. All right, so these methods that we're using are called non-destructive methods. Okay, so the difference between destructive and non-destructive. All right, so keynote, these are some key terms that you need to know and understand. All right, so destructive is when you actually work and destroy the actual pixels of a photo. So for example, all right, so take our picture we worked on. Okay, I'm going to delete this layer 2. All right, I'm going to unlock this photo. Okay, so let's say we did the same thing. Okay, we painted on the photo like we did earlier or whatever. Okay, now all right, so what I just did now is I actually destroyed the picture. All right, because right now there's really no way for me to get rid of these colors and go back and, you know, erase things or whatever. The only thing I would have to do is just hit Control Z to go back, but that's still, I'm still actually working on the actual pictures. All right, because if I want to erase, look what happens. I'm erasing the actual picture. Okay. All right, so that's not what I want. All right, so we're gonna go back to our history. All right, so this is your history panel, and you can go all the way back to the beginning when you first added the photo in. Okay, and then you can actually go through the history, and it pretty much saves everything from when you first opened the program. Okay, so we're gonna go back to our history, and we're gonna start back off with our photo. So we're going to keep this photo locked. Okay, so that method I just showed you was the destructive way of editing a photo. All right, a non-destructive way is what we did before, where you make a layer on top. Okay, all right, so we're not editing the actual photo, we're actually editing a layer that's on top of that base photo, and we're using blending modes and different things. All right, so this time we're going to use a layer mask. Okay, so remember when I used the eraser tool when I was trying to erase the color from this area early on in the last video? Instead of me doing it that way, I could just take a lasso tool. Okay, so these tools are the tools you would use to make selections. So everything in this, pretty much this whole bar, has to do with selections. Okay, so you have let's start with your marquee tools. Okay, so you have your rectangular marquee, your elliptical marquee, your single row, and your single column, and then you have your different lassos. All right, so this lasso tool is what you would do to click and drag. So this basic lasso tool is like using a pencil to draw out your selection. The polygonal lasso tool only operates with clicks, so you can only click. All right, and it makes like these straight lines. All right, so if you're working on something, you know, and you want to kind of have a little bit more control, all right, this is where you would use the polygonal lasso tool. If you want like an item that has straight lines or whatever, this is the tool that you would use. All right, in order to deselect this, you would go up here and see the shortcut is Control D. All right, so you just press Control D, or you go to select, deselect. Okay, so remember, in your menu, all your selections and all your options for your selections are here. All right, and then these are all your tools for your selections. Okay, all right, and this is your options bar. So whenever I change the tool, you'll see the options change for that particular tool. The magnetic lasso tool is just that. It's like a magnet, and it actually clings to parts of the photo. And I'm not doing anything. I'm just clicking and just moving my mouse around. All right, and then once it gets to the end, you'll see like a little circle by the little magnifying, the little magnetic horseshoe. There's a small little circle to the bottom right of it, and if that tells you that you're back at the beginning part of that that selection, and if you click, it actually makes your circle for you. Okay, so this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna use our lasso tool Okay, and we're gonna just draw a circle. So remember, the lasso tool is like using a pen. It's like free form. So we're just gonna click and draw a circle. Okay, it doesn't matter how it looks right now. Okay, let's I don't like the way that one's. Let's do it this way. Let's go. Oh, my circles suck today. All right, cool. That's fine enough. Okay. So what we want to do is color only this part around here, and we want to get rid of this area here. So now if you look at the top in your options bar or your control bar, okay, you have these different options for your selection. All right, so I have a live selection right now, and what happens is, like, let's look at it now. So if I have my brush, okay, and if I click, it's only going to stay inside that selection. All right, so I don't want that. I want it to stay inside the selection, but I want this also to be removed as well. So I'll go back to my lasso, and you see my 4 selections here. You have, and if you sit, it'll tell you a new selection. All right, the next one is add to selection. The next one is subtract and intersect. Okay, so pretty much what we want to do is subtract this area from the current selection that we have. So I would just select subtract, and then now I'm just going to make another broken circle because my circles are horrible today. All right, so now if I go back to my brush, you'll see what happens. It actually stays within that selection. Okay, and then if we go back to like we did the last video, change your blending mode, voila. Okay. All right, so I'm going to make a better looking circle. So instead of using the lasso tool, I'm just going to go ahead and use an elliptical marquee tool. That gives me a better control over the circle. So I'm just going to make a better circle here. All right, so that's a little bit better. And then we're going to do the same thing. Go to subtract from selection, and then we're just going to go and make another circle inside here. All right, so it's a little bit better. All right, I guess today is just not the day for circles. All right, and then we're gonna go and change the color. All right, and then you can get pretty creative with these different colors. You can kind of colors on top, play around with some things, and then when you change your blending mode, this is what you have. All right, so we're gonna deselect this. And there you go. All right, so we're going to get back to our move tool, and now we have our layer 2 is selected, and actually you can see some transform controls. All right, so there's different ways you can hide this. Well, there's only one way really. If you don't want to see these controls here, you just go and deselect this here, so you get that. But you can still actually move this around because you're on your move tool. This is called the move tool. All right, so you can move this around and fit it, and if you wanted to show your transforms and you wanted to resize it or whatever. All right, I'm holding shift while I'm doing this. All right, if I don't hold shift, this is what it looks like. Okay, but I want to hold shift to keep it proportioned. Okay, and then that's it for selections. Okay, and then all right, so let's do that again, but let me show you how to use a layer mask, which is pretty cool. All right, so I'm going to go and make another layer. Okay, and also too, when you're deleting layers, once you finish with them, if you don't need them or whatever, you can trash them, or you can just press delete. All right, so let's go back. Let's do the marquee tool again. Now this time what I want to do is I want to make a layer mask. So I'm just going to go around here. Okay, and I have my selection made, right? Oh, that was a pretty good circle. All right, so I have my selection, and now I'm going to go down to this icon here. It looks like a rectangle with a circle cut out, okay, like a cookie cutter. All right, so it says add layer mask. So I'm just going to add a layer mask. All right. And now you see what happens. Like this layer looks funny, right? So you have your layer that you work on, and then you have this black layer with the white circle in the inside. Well, that white circle was my selection, okay, that I had on my artboard, okay? And it's actually a layer mask, so it's just like having a mask on. So anything that's black is hidden, and anything that's white, all right, and that's in that white circle is going to show. All right, so if I fill this entire layer, okay, with yellow, watch what happens. I'm just going to click anywhere here. All right. So it filled the entire layer with yellow, but the only part of it that's going to show is what's ever in that little white area here. Okay. So this is what you call a layer mask. Okay. All right. Now, so you can take this layer and add a multiply to it as well. And there you go. Now, watch when I make another selection. Okay. And I'm going to delete this area using a layer mask. Okay, so I'll just go ahead and make a selection here. Okay, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to get back on my layer mask. Okay, so remember I said the colors are different. The color black hides and the color white shows. So I have my color black already selected. I'm just going to get my brush. And remember, I'm on this mask, so you can move between the layers within that layer mask. Okay, so I'm actually on the mask right now. I'm not on the layer itself. So make sure you're on the mask, and then you have your two colors set, black and white. So with the black paintbrush, I'm just going to paint and watch what happens. It disappears like an eraser. All right, and if you look at my layer mask, you'll see where that black was added to. All right, so it has that little thing on the outside or whatever, so you can actually see what the layer mask looks like. So it's pretty cool. Another pretty cool way of using layer mask. And also, like, the best part of using it is it's non-destructive. So what happens is you actually can, you know, make as many mistakes as possible, but you still have your original photo. So whenever you make a mistake, you can always just go back, make a new layer, and work on a new layer and make new changes. Okay, so that's the best part of working non-destructively, because you can actually bring your work back versus losing it and having to start like from scratch. Okay, and then you can actually make edits to this. So like, say if I didn't want this yellow color, I can just change the color. I just go here and get my paintbrush, and I can just change the color over. All right, so that's the best thing about using layer masks, is, like I said, because you can actually edit it and make, you know, adjustments to it. Okay, so what I want you guys to do now is find your own photo. All right, so make sure you find a photo that has high resolution. Okay, make sure you find a photo that has a lot of detail in it. All right, maybe a portrait or something, or maybe something like this here. Okay, so a photo that has some type of a visual element to it. And I want you to make sure it's black and white as well. All right, copy it into Photoshop and then color it. Okay, so we're going to spend some time working on the coloring, and what I want to see is how well you can use your selections and your layer mask and different things. And when you finish, okay, or before the bell rings, just make a screenshot and email me your screenshot. All right.